Why did I recently fall in love with a 20-year-old video game, and why did it take me so long to play one of the most beloved and influential games of all time? Well, we're gonna answer both those questions because this isn't a video game review, it's a love story. And my love affair started in 2002 when I saw this commercial for Kingdom Hearts. I remember he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Joe, help him! I remember seeing that commercial and thinking to myself, what is this and why does it feel so magical? And from the moment that I saw it, I was hooked. For years, it was this thing that lived in the back of my mind that I was hyping up. But I didn't get a chance to play it, nor did I know anyone who did because I was homeschooled. So, for those of you who are like me and don't know what Kingdom Hearts is a video game that's collaboration between Disney and Square Enix that combines familiar characters and locations of Disney and combines them with familiar faces and mechanics of Final Fantasy into a new world where you play as the original character Sora, who has to team up with Donald and Goofy to save the world and find King Mickey. But I didn't know any of this. So I did the next best thing, which was make stuff up and try to guess what the game was about. I would come up with storylines and imagine what characters would appear in the game. Mind you, this was all based off of a commercial I saw one time. I thought this person right here was Kita from Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And I was very wrong about that because she doesn't even appear in the game, but I still created entire plots where she was the focus. I might have had a crush on her, but that's irrelevant. Again, I was wrong about all this, but it didn't stop me from raising my expectations for what I thought would be my perfect video game. And as they say, expectation is the thief of joy. The more time it took for me to play it, the more I wanted to play it, and the more I wanted to play it, the more my expectation for the game grew. My expectation eventually became a monster of my own creating. So big, so massive, I didn't think Kingdom Hearts could live up to it. I ruined the game before I could even play it. But then I played it, and it was so much more than I could hope for. None of the crazy kooky scenarios I came up with could prepare me for the emotional impact this game would have on me. But again, if I wanted to play it that bad, why did it take me so long? Well, because I didn't have a PS2, I had a GameCube, and we couldn't afford another console, which led to me growing up hearing things like, what? You didn't play Okami? Because I was broke, Raymond. Don't be a classist. Okay? Nothing deters someone from wanting to do something like shaming them for having not done it before. I'm guilty of it too, but let's try to share our passions and not our indignations. But you're here for a love story. So why do I love it so much? I mean, it's a 20-year-old game. It couldn't be that good. Unless I'm one of those people that enjoys Kingdom Hearts for both the Final Fantasy and Disney elements and don't prefer one over the other. I think they both combine to make the best combination since peanut butter and marshmallow. Where are my Fluffernutter fans at? On one hand, you have films like Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and The Little Mermaid with such grandiose stories and such unforgettable characters and music that the entire film is forever etched into my memory. I'm allergic to fairy dust. And on the other hand, you have Final Fantasy. Unlike Disney films, you get to be the star in Final Fantasy. You're the hero. And even though the scenarios and interactions are scripted, you can't help but feel an attachment to the world and its characters. The magic, the sounds, the characters you feel like are your friends make for a lovely fantasy. And I think one of the most interesting things about Kingdom Hearts is just how it came to be. And it's partly due to another video game that I love, Super Mario 64. Square Enix, the makers of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, figured that the only franchise capable of matching or exceeding Mario in terms of popularity was Disney. But the thing is, Disney had a reputation for not really playing well with others. Once upon a time, there was this thing called the Disney Vault, where Disney kept all their secrets and videos, and they protected it and all of their intellectual properties with the ferocity and the intensity of a dragon protecting its hoard. So getting Disney to allow someone to use their most popular characters in a game without them having complete and utter control over them would prove to be not as difficult as you might think. You see, Square Enix and Disney Interactive both share the same building, so all Square Enix had to do was walk on over and pitch their idea. Okay, fine, it was probably a little more complicated than that, but that does lead me into my first reason why I love Kingdom Hearts: nostalgia. So one day, my fiance and I, yes, I can get women to touch me, we're sitting down after a long day and we realized that the PlayStation Store was having a huge sale on the Kingdom Hearts collection. So after years of wanting and yearning, I felt like this was finally my chance to bite the bullet. So we bought it, and it still took us a year and a half to play it. We didn't play it until Final Fantasy 16 was about to be released as a way to tide us over until the game came out. But what we found was an explosion of nostalgia, which was kind of weird because neither of us had played the game before. But Square Enix was right about Disney. Disney, who since 1928 has done everything they could to intertwine themselves with every facet of our lives. So much so that even I, who's not even the biggest Disney kid, had succumbed to Disney brain rot. The visuals, the feelings, and the songs I don't even dare hum here because my analogy about Disney protecting their IPs from earlier was factual and I don't want it to be eaten by the copyright dragon. The only other time I felt this burst of nostalgia for Disney was going to Disney 100, a celebration of 100 years of Disney. They have their original sets and props from the animated movies and shows. Walking through and seeing how all these different worlds were put together made you feel like you were a part of them. And on the other slice of bread for this delicious sandwich, you have Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy's DNA shows up way more in the gameplay than the story, but we do get to see characters from different games interact with each other, which for me is worth the price of admission. The story doesn't really focus on them. They're more background characters, except for Cloud and his boyfriend arch enemy, Sephiroth. Now, if you ever played a Final Fantasy game, things feel very familiar here, like the names of spells like Thundaga and Kiraga. But the most Final Fantasy-esque thing is Square Enix's exceptional crafting of characters. In just a few lines of scrolling text or dialogue, they make you completely fall in love with their characters. The thing that sticks out to me after playing a Final Fantasy game the most is just the relationships between all the different people that I've met in the game. After playing Final Fantasy, I can't help but think to myself, this must be what it's like to have friends. It wasn't that sad. But that does bring me to the next thing I love about Kingdom Hearts: the characters. Final Fantasy is a game that's known for their amazing and good-looking characters. And a lot of those same characters appear in Kingdom Hearts. There's no need to introduce them because chances are you already know them, and if you don't, the short intro you get with them is good enough. The Final Fantasy characters that gets the most time devoted to their story is Cloud, because his issues are so big, they follow him around no matter what game he's in. I hear that as the game goes on, there's less focus on Final Fantasy characters, and that makes me sad, because to me, they're a part of what makes the game great. A good Final Fantasy game makes you care about its characters, and initially going in, I was a bit worried. I love Donald and Goofy, I really do, but the idea of playing an entire game with them being my companion kinda had me worried. But I was happy to find out that they were good. You see, this was a simpler time, before God of War or The Last of Us, when all you needed for a good video game companion was for them to be present and somewhat helpful. And Donald and Goofy are present and somewhat helpful. Their level of helpfulness really depends on the settings that you give them, which works fine for the most part until you change something, forget, and then Donald spends an entire boss fight healing Goofy and leaving you to suffer and die. Throughout the game, you have the option to trade out Donald or Goofy with other characters. For the most part, when I traded out Donald or Goofy for another character, I would miss them, even though gameplay-wise the other character would serve their same purpose. They don't go very deep into these character stories, rather rely on you to have previous knowledge of them. One time I felt like this really worked is with Beast from Beauty and the Beast, whose world has been completely destroyed, but it's his love for Belle that allowed him to carry on and find her, which on its own is pretty sweet. But then you see Belle and you see she's wearing her gold dress. Then you realize she was taken during the dance scene from the movie, and it makes the scene all the more impactful, which totally gave us an awe moment as we were sitting there playing. All in all, having the characters are fun, but they're more like Easter eggs or cameos than their own fully fledged characters inside the game. And for me, that was okay because I was just excited to see the Disney characters I love interact with each other. Then there's Sora, the main character. I love Sora. He really wants to save the world, but he's also obsessed with Riku and Kairi. He's willing to travel to different worlds to save them, but he doesn't mention his parents or these weirdos once. In fact, the beginning of the game, Riku mentions that when they leave, they may never see their parents again. And Sora's like, okay, will I see you and Kairi? I love Sora. He's the best. He's adorable and fun-loving. He kind of looks and acts like Cloud if Cloud got therapy and a hug. He's honestly one of my favorite video game protagonists. I mean, look at that smile. I love Sora. He's adorable. Look at him. He's so cute. He's fun and he's light on his feet, which leads me into the next reason I love Kingdom Hearts, the gameplay. Now, this is a €21 game, so you kind of have to set your expectations accordingly. But with that said, the game just feels good. But because I played the final mixed version, I did get certain improvements like being able to skip cutscenes. But with that said, if you played Final Fantasy 15, 16, or the 7 remakes, you cannot deny that Kingdom Hearts DNA exists in those gameplay mechanics. Switching from turn-based gameplay to real-time action, you run the risk of the gameplay feeling clunky or the camera not behaving very well. And I was happy to find out that the gameplay was fluid and fun. Because the gameplay is inspired mostly by Final Fantasy, you get spells and also summons. But because of the Disney influence, there's no Bahamut. You get Mushu from Mulan, and instead of Rama, you have Genie, who's voiced by Dan Castellaneta, the same guy who also voices Genie in the Latin TV show, and who famously voices Homer Simpson. So all I hear when I summon Genie is, donuts. The gameplay is really fun, and the summons makes the gameplay kind of quirky. And now for the last is this the last reason? Second to last reason why I love Kingdom Hearts, the design. And oh boy, this game is designed so well, like incredibly well. Everything from Wonderland to Halloween Town captures the essence of the original movies. You actually get to go inside the Cave of Wonders and beat up Jafar. Like, these places aren't huge by today's standards, but they're pretty big. This is beautiful. This is whimsical. This is majestic. And this is horrifying, but also kind of beautiful. The impact some of these levels had can't be overstated. Words can't express the feeling I had being able to fly around the place I had become so familiar with from the movie. Gameplay grinded to a halt as I was transported back to being a kid with my mom putting Peter Pan on for me to watch. I floated around there longer than I needed, humming songs from the movie as if in a trance. It's not just the places they recreate from the movies, it's also places like Traverse Town and Hollow Bastion. They all feel deeply thought out. The level design is superb. You can even return to some locations after you've gotten new abilities to unlock new sections. Did I mention you can go inside a well? You can go inside Monstro, which does remind me a little bit of Jabu Jabu from the Ocarina of Time, in the sense that they're both fish and they're weird. Like, how do you have doors and elevators inside you and you still alive? Also, while inside Monstro, you run into Geppetto and Pinocchio, which reminds me of that internet brain teaser that goes something like, what would happen if Pinocchio said, "My nose is about to grow"? Well, I'm happy to say I have someone here that can answer that question. I give you Disney's Pinocchio.
Well, the thing is, my nose isn't an unlimited lie detector. It's a narrative device to show the real-time consequences to lying. It's to teach me and others that when given the choice to tell the truth or to lie, I should always tell the truth. So if I were to say my nose is about to grow, and honestly thought it would not grow. I guess the lesson here for our modern audience is that just because you think something is true doesn't make it true, but it also doesn't make it a lie.
It has occurred to me that you're not the right Pinocchio. Guys, where's Pinocchio? Find him. And finally, the last thing I love about Kingdom Hearts is the story. I know it has a reputation for being, shall we say, convoluted. But at least here in the first game, it's pretty simple and clean and straightforward. And I found myself engrossed. The story takes place on an island with Sora, Riku, and Kairi. And
Excuse me, Elijah.
Yes?
Yes, I don't mean to step on any toes, but I believe this story needs a certain gravitas.
Okay, you want to do it?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Fine, suit yourself.
Thank you. On isles where sunlit waters gleam, Sora, Riku, Kairi held a dream. But darkness swept with chilling blight, shattered worlds in endless night. The Keyblade chose a beacon's ray. Sora's path with Donald led the way. Goofy's heart, so true and bright, through Disney realms they took their flight. Maleficent schemes a twisted snare, Riku lured by darkness's lair. Kairi's light, a princess true, of purest heart the legends knew. The princesses, their spirits bright, a key to worlds against the night. Their strength entwined with Sora's fate, to mend the realms ere it's too late. Friendship's bond a star above, fought Ansem's hate with might and love. Riku strayed, yet sought the dawn, where hearts entwine and hope takes wing. The Keyblade's song the heavens sing.
All right, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good. Was there a game that you played that you were late to the party on like me? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you give a like. My name is Elijah Lee, and please, don't forget to subscribe.